distinguished members of the NAC peer team, directors of the schools, heads of the divisions, centers, cells, units, and regional directors at the regional centers. First of all, I welcome to the NAC peer team. It has come for the first time to accredit an open university, and that to the Indira Gandhi National Open University. This university, it was conceived by Professor G. Ram Reddy. He was the founder, Vice Chancellor. He envisioned a virtual university. This was his second experiment. The first experiment was B.R. Ambedkar Open University, Hyderabad. And this is the first national university also. Thereafter, we have got 2 or 3 other national universities, but way back in '85, this was set up as the first national university of the country. This is the only university which was set up by the Ministry of Education, directly controlled, directly monitored by the Ministry of Education. Distinguished members of the NAC peer team, I heartily welcome you. A brief introduction of our distinguished NAC peer team members. I would like to narrate before all of you. Professor K.R.S. Sambashiva Rao, he is the chairperson of this NAC peer team. He is the Vice Chancellor of Mizoram University. Previously, he held the positions of the PVC and the Vice Chancellor in charge at the Acharya Nagarjuna University. As an acclaimed academician, he is DSc in Biotechnology, PhD Pharmaceutical Sciences, PhD in Zoology, MBA Clinical Research and Pharmacy. In his significant abroad assignments, he worked as a visiting scientist at Department of Biochemistry, Emory University, Atlanta, USA, and so on and so forth. A great scientist, presently guiding us Northeast universities. Sir, I welcome you to this university. Professor K. Sitaram Rao, he is the former Vice Chancellor of the first Open University of the country, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University, Hyderabad. He is MPhil and PhD from Kakatiya University and recipient of the gold medal in MA Public Administration. A great human being, and we work together for the cause of this open and distance learning. Sir, I welcome you to this university. Professor Ami Upadhyay, she is the Vice Chancellor of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. She is a Professor of English. She is contributing a lot as far as the policy making in the field of open and distance learning is concerned. In most of the committees of the UGC, as well as of the distance education, her contribution was immense. She was earlier the registrar of the same university, a person who loves music and dance. I welcome her to this university. Professor Madhumita Das. She is the former Vice Chancellor of Fakir Mohan University, Balasore. She is Professor in Department of Geology, Utkal University, and has a teaching experience of more than 40 years. She completed her Masters and PhD from Utkal University. Only a month back, she completed her successful term. She has been a DAT Fellow and an eminent women geoscientist from South Asia. Madam, I welcome you to this university. Professor Om Prakash Singh Negi, he is the Vice Chancellor of Uttarakhand Open University. I was also there as the Vice Chancellor. He has got more than 37 years of experience of teaching of postgraduate and undergraduate classes, actively engaged in research. His areas of interest are high energy physics, quantum field theory. So many key positions he was holding, and a simple and humble person. And presently, he is contributing a lot to the open and distance learning system, especially in Uttarakhand, where already with his initiatives and efforts, the private colleges now they are coming, their students, they will directly coming under the Uttarakhand Open University. There is no private students category in that state. I welcome you, sir. Professor Vinay Pathak, known to all of us, he was also the Vice Chancellor of Uttarakhand Open University. He was also the Vice Chancellor of Vardhaman Mahavir Open University. He is the Vice Chancellor of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University, UP. It is his second term. And a person who is known for his simplicity, ideas, and he has also contributed a lot as the board member of this university also. He was the Dean at HBTI Kanpur also, an MPhil and MTech. So of course, we do have a long association. When I was the Vice Chancellor of Uttar Pradesh Rajesh Tandon Open University, he was also the Vice Chancellor of Uttarakhand Open University. And subsequently, I also joined as Uttarakhand Open University Vice Chancellor. So a great friend of mine, Open University plus technology, how it can be blended, that is his catch, and we all are getting a lot of benefits from him. Sir, I welcome you. Dr. Jay Prasad K. is a professor at the Department of International Relations, Central University of Kerala. He is member Executive Council, Central University of Kerala, Dean School of Cultural Studies, and Director Mahatma Ayakali Center for Kerala Studies. He was also Pro Vice Chancellor of this Central University of Kerala. A simple and a great person in the field of political science and public administration. I welcome him. Dr. Chandan Gupta is known to me because we are from the same state, and he is presently in Devi Ahilya Vishwavidyalaya, Indore, faculty in the field of journalism, and at EMRC, Educational Media Research Center, Devi Ahilya Vishwavidyalaya, Indore. And there also, when the NAC team visited, he has contributed a lot for this university, Devi Ahilya University, Indore. Sir, I welcome you to this university. Professor D. Sri Ramalu, he is MBA, PhD, LLB from the Department of Business Management, Osmania University, Hyderabad. I do feel that I am also from the same discipline. So a great linkage is there with him also. He is the Chairperson Board of Studies, and presently he is holding the position of Dean College Development Council, Osmania University, Hyderabad. he has successfully completed 2 research projects sponsored by ICT and UGC. Sir, I welcome you. Professor Dhaneshwar Harichandan holds PhD in distance education, a known name to all of us. Most of us know him. Simple person. He was the director this School of Distance Education at Mumbai University, Mumbai, and most of us are knowing his potentials as a person of education and also in the field of distance education. He has served the professor cum director from 2007 to 2015 in the Institute of Open and Distance Learning, University of Bombay. So I also welcome you. With this brief introduction, may I seek the permission of the chairperson to present a brief of the university regarding the qualitative matrices and also some salient features of this university. As I have already told you that this university, it is directly under the control of Ministry of Education, monitoring. In our board of management, there are 5 visitor nominees and 2 ministry secretaries, they are there. And it is also a self-sustaining university. All the activities, they are being carried on by us. Employees' salary, employees' pension, employees' welfare facilities. We have got an affordable free structure also for the learners. With this brief introduction, I have got I think around 70-80 slides, but I will push most of the slides. I will not talk about those slides in detail because my colleagues in the schools, and they will also talk about some special matrices for which you may require some clarifications that will also be deliberated in the schools also along with other presentations. But I am touching some of the issues which may help us to understand the nature of this university, because first time the NAC peer team is looking into it, and even the NAC is also experimenting that how to go for the improvement of this open and distance learning accreditation process. So for that, the feedback also it is collecting. Welcome you again. This is the our team. Professor Mehraj Uddin Mir, yesterday he sent me a message. He could not join us. Maybe today he will join because of the snowfall in Srinagar. His flight, it was being rescheduled today at 10:30. Established by an Act of Parliament in 85. It's an open university. Jurisdiction is whole of India as well as study centers outside India. First time in the Act itself it was being stated that our jurisdiction is outside India also. Vision, no need to talk about it. It is National Resource Center for Open and Distance Learning, international recognition and presence, learner-centric quality education, skill upgradation and training. Because right now, in some instances, the ministry talks that skill education, it cannot be imparted through the open universities, but that experiment in IGNOU and also in other open universities, we are doing successfully. So that point, it was emphasized long back when this particular enactment, it was being enacted by the policymakers. Mission, then our mandate is we are flexible, anywhere, anytime, any place, self-paced learning. Pace of learning, it varies from individual to individual, but in this case, we are flexible enough. 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Then access, reaching out to learners. Every nook and corner, we are trying to reach. And now later on, our open universities, now 14 open universities are there, state open universities. They are also helping us in this endeavor to reach to the learners through their regional centers and learner support centers also. Access, then the equity, yes, inclusive education for all. special attention to deprived and marginalized groups of learners. As subsequently I will also narrate that in case of around 100 programs, there is a fee waiver scheme for SC/ST students also, and around 1 lakh learners, they are being benefited almost every year from this particular provision, and this is also being met from our major resources to help those underprivileged and marginalized groups of learners. Multidisciplinary curriculum with latest advanced pedagogy and ICT applications, and affordable. Why I am talking affordable? Because recently I was invited in UK, and there most of the open universities, they are having the problems, and they all were narrating those problems. And when even the UK Open University was stating that it is having the fund shortage, and they are also talking about the support from the government. I was keeping mum. They asked me that don't you have any problem? Yes, I said I don't have any problem, because ours is a self-sustaining university, and we put an affordable fee for the learners, and there they are charging, I think, £2,000 per year for BCom, and here we are charging 2,700 rupees per year for BCom, including providing the materials. And with this major fees, they are saying that how you are having a self-sustained structure. So, so many things we are having, we are very peculiar in that context. So, we have got low cost and free education also to deprived classes. Affordability, that is our main crux. IGNOU in numbers, because largest university in the world, especially when we are talking about in terms of numbers. 340 academics, 444 teachers. Around 50 to 60% of these posts, they are filled up. And remaining, they are in the process of filling up. We have already made the advertisement for these positions. 21 schools of studies, 12 divisions, 10 centers. There are unique centers like NCDS and NCID exclusively, and we have got exclusive manpower for those divisions also. 5 units, 67 regional centers. There are 56 regional centers plus 11 army-specific regional centers. There are 67. 35,000 academic counselors, 20 overseas study centers, 251 programs, and 33 lakh learners. And recently, during this January 2020, we have also moved to online programs, and we are having 15 online programs right now. MA Hindi, MA Gandhian Studies. These are the initiatives for which Honorable Minister has launched these programs during this COVID-19. Swayam courses, we are also contributing. We are the national coordinator for the Swayam courses, certificate courses. In that also, during the COVID period, the number of courses, there were 21, and it has gone up to 102 Swayam courses. So we are trying to reach to the learner, because when the edX and Coursera is trying to catch Indian market, our own MHRD through their Swayam portal is trying to enhance its reach to the larger number of learners, because this is the course-based learning which our national education policy is also emphasizing upon. And we are the ones who looked at these initiatives long back. We had got already this provision to have the course-based registrations also, program-based registration along with course-based registrations. Now the national education policy is also emphasizing on that. Multimedia approach, we have got so many things we try to reach to the learners. Materials, face-to-face counseling, audiovisual ads, YouTube, Gyan Darshan, 5 Swayam Prabha channels, webcasting of the Gyan Darshan, Gyanvani, teleconferencing, web conferencing, OERs and MOOCs, practical project fieldwork. Of course, most of the open universities, they know about it. They are going for this multimedia approach. And Electronic Media Production Center, it is one of the prestigious project which the IGNOU is having. It was set up by the Ministry of Education, and the maintenance and other things, it was being given to the Indira Gandhi National Open University. And Earlier, we used to reach to IIMs and IITs also through this EMPC, Electronic Media Production Center. It has the reach, and Gyan Darshan is the must-carry channel, and every day, 12 hours content it is repeated twice. During this COVID-19, Uttar Pradesh government has made an announcement that when the students, they are not in a position to reach to the colleges, then they said that, by circular, they said that we view Gyan Darshan channels, and thereby you can have the learning also. So this process we are already having. We are also having Gyanvani FM radio stations. Gyanvani Delhi broadcast 12 hours a day. And recently what we have done is try to integrate Gyanvani with Gyan Darshan also. A person who is in the Gyanvani, their live interaction, it can be viewed at the Gyan Darshan channel also. This experiment has also given us good results, and thereby our reach to the learners, it was very, very effective. In addition to that, because this particular project we have got large number of producers, and most of the EMPCs, they were set up later on in some of the state open universities also with the help of our own people. So we have got very qualified, and the people who are having the expertise in this area, not only in the radio area but also in the visual also, that is the TV, in that also our contribution was immense. Thrust for digital content delivery. eGyan Kosh, it is the repository of all our courses, and there is also a mobile app, that is eContent app. And eContent app, you know, more than 10 lakh students they are using this eContent app. It can be on our mobile. And during this COVID-19, earlier this number was around 6 lakhs. Now this COVID-19 period, this number has gone up to 10 lakhs. And anyone can have this eContent app by getting it installed in their mobile. So that is giving us a lot of reach also. And these courses, along with all the details, all the contents, it is available on that. eGyan Kosh, already I have told you. This here also all the courses are there, and this can be viewed by anyone. Here also the open entry is permitted. And the users page view, you see that 81,95,246 users are there, and page views also that is being put before you. Recently what we have done is, in order to encourage the digital content delivery, 15% fee concession for the students who are opting for digital content. And that initiative, it has got good results, because it is an environmental concerns also that is being addressed through that. And around 1 lakh learners, they have opted for this digital content also. Thereby paper can also be saved. And this experiment earlier we have done at Uttarakhand Open University also, and now in the Indira Gandhi National Open University. And we are getting people, they can download it through their in their mobile. And most of the students they feel, some of the students they feel, and for others, yes, we are providing the books also, the printed material. As I have told you that we are the national coordinator for SWAYAM, for certificate courses. In 2016, when this SWAYAM platform was established for the first time in our country, as I was telling you that edX and Coursera, it was there before that. And Ministry has thought way back in 2016 to have this SWAYAM platform for us, wherein the course-based learning, that was being emphasized. And in that course-based learning, around 3,000 courses are there. And these 3,000 courses, 4 national coordinators they were appointed. One is the NPTEL. It is a consortium of IITs, then UGC, CEC, and the IGNOU. IGNOU was the institution, only institution, otherwise others are the consortium of the institutions. And then we see that number of courses which we tried to have it, and then the enrollment number is also there. And in the cumulative figure is also with us. But the SWAYAM courses recently what they have tried to do is, they are now translating these courses into the Indian languages also, 8 languages. And this course-based learning where the registration is free, at present 2 crore learners, they are registered for this. When this edX and Coursera has come up in India in a big way, then this MHRD has also, MOE also, has opened this SWAYAM platform a month before, and thereby the larger number of learners they are now attracting to this. Around 1,000 courses they are in the engineering and management, around 1,000 courses in the social sciences and humanities it is there. And they chose us as the national coordinator. And some of the courses which we have put over there, they are being adopted by IIM Bangalore, University of Hyderabad, Pondicherry University, Tejpur University. They picked up our courses and they tried to put these courses in their curricula under the credit transfer scheme. National Coordinator for Swayam Prabha channels. Here also, 2017, this experiment it was being conducted. And the Swayam Prabha channels, there are 33 channels. And out of that, 4 or 5 channels, they have been clearly given to IGNOU. And there is one channel for the state open universities also out of that. So state open universities, they are also contributing. And most popular channel in this is the state open university channel. Their viewership is much more because all the state open universities are contributing their lectures in that. And if you look into it, the details, the total hours of telecast, everywhere, the total weeks of telecast, all the details that are being given over here. And these modes, now you see that they are on the Dish TV. Those who are having Dish TV, they can look into these material and study from home. Swayam courses, their material, it can also be, their videos, they can be seen here and you can have your studies from home. Under the National Education Policy, when they are talking about the multidisciplinary focus, and if you want to add any course which you don't have with you, you can easily pick up a course from Swayam and add it to your basket of the skill-based courses or the value-based courses, any course which you want. For example, in BCom, you want a course on Hindi and you don't have Hindi department. Then ask your students to get themselves registered in the Hindi course here. What's your credit, they will get it. And the test is conducted by the NTA, National Testing Agency of MHRD. So reliable testing is there. Credit, whatsoever you earn over it can be transferred. Enrollment growth figures already I am giving you, continuously increasing. Even this particular year also, July 2020, our admissions, they are almost the same figure as we got it last year. Of course, the students, they are facing hardships. They don't have money to pay the fees also. But even then, they are reaching to the open universities because there the fee which we charge, that is affordable. Then our national footprint, this is the 56 regional centers all over the country. And there, in almost every state, we have got one regional center. Numbers or no numbers, we are having the regional center. Even in Mizoram also there is a regional center. In all the Northeast, 9 regional centers we are having. And we are also having a regional center in Port Blair also. So look at any area, we have got a regional center. And that reach, that is what I was talking about, the access. Our own establishment, that is what I am talking about it. Then we have got LSCs, 1961. They are the functional LSCs. They are not the defunct. Earlier we used to have a total list of study centers. Their number was around 4,000. Now we started identifying only the functional LSCs. Their number is, and every state we are having, and you see the spread. In Jammu and Kashmir, there the open university is not there. You will find that large number of study centers, they are located there. So we see that in Bihar, in Northeast, you see that the number of study centers, how they are spread all over the country. International presence. As I already told you that we are having the international presence since in our act itself it was being stated. We can establish our study centers outside India. And earlier the number was very, very large. And recently the number is around 20 centers overseas. And Pan-Africa Network, again, it is the initial project which the Ministry of External Affairs, IGNOU and the TCS, it was there, and all the three, Pan-African e-network, it was with 27 countries, and IGNOU was the major partner. Now recently they have reviewed that project, and now it is called as Vidya Bharati, and now they are reviewing that how to go for it. Again, almost the same partners they are in this system also. A detailed presentation on international presence, it will be made later on by the international division. Rural-urban diversity, yes, you see that rural people and urban people, urban learners, we are reaching to rural areas also. Rural areas, that is important. Look at the numbers, almost they are the equal. Similarly, the gender diversity, transgenders, of course, their number is very insignificant. But the male-female, you see that in 2017-18, 5 lakhs and 4 lakhs. So around that number is very good in terms of gender diversity also. Towards inclusion, SC, ST, OBC and general, you'll find that more than 1 lakh learners of SC and around 80 lakhs learners of ST. So you'll find that, yes, the people from the those marginalized sections of the society, they are also in our educational stream. This is in terms of percentage also you can see that 49% and 51%, 49% rural, male and female 41 and 59. Special target groups, we are having the jails as our study centers. People earlier, the conception is that those who are in the jails, they are treated as a liability. But what the IGNOU thought, and most of the open universities, they are doing it great work in this area, and they are giving free education to the jail, so that once they complete their imprisonment term, and then they come out, then they can be employable also, and they can contribute significantly to the society. So free admission, free examination, counseling support at the LSCs, and the examination centers at the jails itself. So if they have got 5-year term in a jail, then they can complete 1 or 2 courses, and thereby once they come out, and they can also become an asset for the country by our free support. Then persons with disability, here also disabled people, we are trying to reach to them. Extra time during examination, accessible campus. We have got a specific center also in our specific division in university, NCDS, National Center of Disability Studies. 2 permanent faculty, senior faculty members, they are appointed there, and plus other support staff, they are being put over there. Then defense and security personnel, we are direct reach with there are 11 recognized regional centers for the defense forces, 6 for army, 4 for navy, and 1 for Asian Assam Rifles. And the number is like that. Earlier, we used to have the 2 other direct Gyandeep, and there was one more MOU which we used to have it with army people, and under which the prior learning, it was being considered. And we are reviewing it again to see that how that prior learning, it can be incorporated at the UGC level also, so that the credits for those prior learning, it can be given, and with the MOUs with the army, that can give a better shape. Number of students passed out, you see that the number of students which we admit and the passed out, the difference between is very significant, because we have got stringent mechanism to monitor the evaluation process. National and international recognition, as I have told you that we are the national coordinator for SWAYAM for certificate and diploma courses, national coordinator for SWAYAM Prabha with 5 channels assigned. When the SWAYAM Prabha was there, they were asking how many channels you want. We are not in a position to take more than 5. So otherwise they were willing to give more at that point of time. Now so many takers are there. IITs, they have taken 10 channels. CEC, they have taken 10 channels. But at that point of time, they have given us 5 channels, and plus our Gyan Darshan channel is with us. University was exempted from UGC ODL regulations 2017. University was also exempted from UGC online regulations 2018. We were awarded the 2nd prize in the Swachh Campus ranking of higher educational institutions in the non-residential university category. Again, the ministry. Then 5-star rating innovation, as I told you. Then Vice Chancellor of this university, he was accorded honorary fellow by the Commonwealth of Learning recently in 2019. We are also having the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan and so many other things which I think you will find at a later stage. This is the notification. Then academic collaborations. You see that we are having academic collaborations with almost all the important institutes: Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Institute of Company Secretaries of India, Institute of Cost Accountants of India, Maharashtra Knowledge Corporation, then ministry, all the ministries: Ministry of Rural Development, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Food Processing, National Council of Hotel Management, Central Skill Board, and with especially the Health Ministry, almost our School of Health Sciences. It is always what the Health Ministry asks, only we are doing those things. And Medical Council of India is also permitted to have some programs for their requirements. These are the linkages with the organization: Delhi Metro Rail Organization, Foundation for Strong, Chennai Metro. Then there was again a good MOU with the Hero Motorcycle also for the collaborative venture regarding the skills. And then this technician for power distribution, our engineering school, it is also having the sponsorship of MOP. Then School of Agriculture is also having. Here the relevance of curricula planned, designed and developed, meeting diverse needs of heterogeneous learner community. Choice-based credit system we have already adopted. Our courses, they are almost being validated by the regulatory bodies. High quality learning resources, I think for that the separate presentations they will be made later on. Enabling provisions of the modular approach. Here also, as I told you earlier, course-wise registration is there. Then flexibility in the combination of the courses. Why I am talking about it is, we have got the graduation course. I think only in open universities they have got the peculiarity that there they talk about in graduation courses, BA courses also. They have got the foundation courses, they have got the ability enhancement courses, and they have got the discipline-based courses. And this system, it was existing since its inception. And that is why it is becoming more and more popular, even when the traditional universities, they are facing lots of problems in pushing the traditional BA, BSc and BCom. So in our case, we are having this particular thing and exit program at designated points. And you see that the national education policy is also talking about that exit option, it should also be given. So that is already there. Lateral entry is also provided in this mechanism. Almost all the open universities, they are working on these lines. Reaching the unreached, we are trying to reach so many areas and so many things. And one of the important area is that, which I can say, that 9 regional centers in Northeast region, digital initiatives through which also we are reaching. We have got special learner support centers for disadvantaged groups, 340 disadvantaged, and that provision is also existing under the ODL regulations 2017 also. We look at that specific category and then a specific study center like jails, and they put it like some areas where we can have these special study centers. Difficult regions of Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh, like Leh also we are having a study center. Then process followed for the development of self-learning material. I think this is the thing IGNOU is always talked about, or any open university is talked about. Because here it is said that a material, because yesterday also I was speaking to the chairman, he was talking about the material. So whenever we speak to any person in the country, including people from IITs, and that is the USP which the IGNOU was carrying on for the last so many years. The mechanism through which the study material, it is being prepared. And this study material, it is the invisible teacher. It is not the textbook. Here the interactive learning process is there. That is why it is called as self-instructional material. And this process, and most of the IAS people and the IPS people, they also do their examinations, most of our traditional teachers. And this mechanism, this course development process, it has got so many steps. The concept note approval, program design, program approval. I think one specific detailed presentation, School of Science, I think someone is making a presentation over there, that how we are going with this development of the study materials. And this is a specific lengthy development procedure. And that is why most of our material that is being used, even on the Gyan, eGyan Ghosh also. And most of the open universities, initially, they have taken the support of this university to have the study materials from IGNOU, and later on they developed their material in their own way. Standardization of SLM, and for which our stride is there. It conducts regular capacity building programs also. And there the faculty from the open universities, faculty from dual mode institutions, they come over there and try to see that how the SLMs they are being developed, how the program is divided into courses, how the courses are divided into blocks, how the blocks are divided into units, and how the units they are being structured, how it has become the standardized housing style. So many things, they are there, content review, language editing. These are the smaller things which are being taken into account in preparing one unit. And experts are the same experts like the convention university teachers. Teachers from IITs, teachers from IIMs, teachers from central universities, they all contribute in this endeavor. And their capacity, it is being used. Here only one teacher is not there. So many teachers, they are invisible and they are trying to reach to the learners. In the conventional system, one teacher is teaching to the learners. Here, so many teachers, their inputs, their expertise that is being put at one place, and that is reaching to our learners. So that is why it has become the most important phase of any open university in the world also. Then process of conduct of term and examinations, nothing new. Of course, most of the open universities, they are doing it. IGNOU is also having it. Automated examination management system is there, and for which I think detailed presentation will also be made. And those who are involved in the process of the conduct of term and examinations, they later on become the successful vice chancellors also. I got Professor Mahapatra, who was also here, the registrar SED earlier, and now he is the successful vice chancellor. He has completed his term as vice chancellor. Examination related grievances, how we deal with it. There are so many ways and so many, because grievances, because here the learner is in a distant place and we are sitting at this place, headquarter, regional centers and the study centers. So how we try to reach to our learners, picking up the telephone calls, getting the emails, and still the people feel that we are not addressing the learner grievances. We have got an effective mechanisms, and those mechanisms that we addressed specifically. We have got an exclusive student service center also. We have got an iGram also, and iGram continuously monitors. And we have got the PM portal. We have got the MHRD portal. So many portals are there, and you'll find that how we are monitoring those grievances on regular basis. Forget about the traditional modes, telephone and other things. And this mechanism you will find at the regional centers also, at the study centers also. Of course, the number is very large, 35 lakh learners. But still, we are trying to address their concerns as far as we can. Then SOP for formative continuous assignments. Preparation, it is being done at headquarters. Assignment management, LSCs, that is being done. Grade management, LSCs. Monitoring, it is being done by RCs and schools. Again, a detailed presentation that will be done at a later stage. Tools for formative assessment. Tutor marked assignments, lab-based practicals, yes, it is there. Internship, it is also there. We have got popular School of Social Work programs. We have got the BBA in retailing also. We have got BHM, Hotel Management Program, very popular. We have got workshops and practicals in B.Ed. We have got the MBA, project work dissertations. And as I have told you that there are collaboration-based programs also. So these are the various ways, lab-based practicals, BSc. IGNOU experimented that idea for the first time way back in 90s, that how the science subjects they can be taught in ODL mode. And it was very, very difficult proposition. And university has devoted a lot of time in that. And from there, the university has moved and still it is working on. Recently they are going for revision. And every faculty is involved in that process, that how to revise that material to keep up the current requirements in the field of science. BSc CBCS now we have designed and we have already implemented also. Program outcomes, no need to talk about it, because already since its inception, IGNOU is having a system wherein the outcome-based learning, it was prevalent. What the recently UGC has talked about those guidelines, we have already adopted those guidelines, but we have seen that outcome-based learning objectives, it was being specified in the beginning itself. And in the end, we are saying that what we have learned from that. So those things, they have been integrated in our teaching learning process from the beginning itself. Policy for promotion of research, we have got three specific divisions. PNDD, again I will tell you, it is one of the important bodies of the university. Planning and Development Division. It has got 5 visitor nominees. 5 visitor nominee in the board and 5 visitor nominee in the planning. It conceives the idea that how to go for a course, and most of its activities, they are related to the course development process. Then STRIDE is there, training, as I told you earlier. I think in B.R. Ambedkar Open University, Hyderabad, they are also having a STRIDE. And then the schools, they are also the discipline-based research that has been carried on. Faculty publications, here the research papers, but our main contribution is SLMs, where it has got a longer reach, wider reach, and so many people, unknown learners, they are not registered with us, but they are using our teaching materials. Innovation ecosystem, I have told you that this was the center, it was established long back in 2005, innovation. And it is giving us results, and recently I have told you that we got 5-star rating by the Ministry of Education to get this 5-star rating. Last year it was 2-star rating, now it has become 5-star rating. So many activities they are going on, and what they are doing is they are contributing to our teaching and learning process more effectively. If you look into it, innovation clubs also we are having. International Innovation Club is also there. They generate awareness about creativity and innovations in the ODL system. It was innovation clubs, they were established on the direction of the visitor in 2015 when I was here as acting Vice Chancellor. At that point of time, it was being considered. IISc IGNOU got place in best 5 HEs in Northwest region and 25th rank at all India level. Then policy on consultancy, we have also got it. Development of multimedia packages, use of technology in education and training, develop and deliver short-term specialized courses, customized training packages, production of audio and video. Most of our faculty, even if they leave this university, they are being placed at very, very high positions in other open and distance learning centers of the globe. The present chairperson of the Commonwealth of Learning is from IGNOU. She was the Pro Vice Chancellor here in IGNOU. Consultancies, government, IIT Bombay, Office of Development of Handlooms, Ministry, Retailers Association of India, Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan. Most of our education projects, they are from the state governments, almost all the state governments, to meet their gaps related to the teacher training program. They have done MOU with us, and we have executed those MOUs. Earmarked funds for EMF and consultancy policy. If you see that we have got special projects out of our 1,000 crore budget, around 100 crores, that is the special projects, maybe from Health Ministry, maybe from the Power Ministry, maybe from Ministry of Education, we are getting these funds. Extension activities, already it has been talked about. We have got Swachh Bharat internship program, Vishakha, disadvantaged clientele. Then impact of extension activities, these are definitely it will have visual impact, mostly increase in the enrollment. And the jail in Bates through free education. Then physical infrastructure. You see that infrastructure at headquarters, we are and 151 acres land is with us, and 12 acres ground coverage is there, because here the restrictions of the government, they are very, very important. DDA put only 12.5% also, that sort of restriction is there. We have got 56 regional centers, out of that 10 are having their own building, and 14 buildings for which the construction process is on already, and 32 regional centers, they are in rented premises. We are also having the regional evaluation centers housed at 6 regional centers also. We are also having the libraries in RCs and LSCs, where the number of books, they are more than the number of books which are having at our headquarters. Infrastructure, the learner support centers. Then every learner support center, this sort of minimum requirement is there, and we try to monitor it, that let those minimum requirements, they must be maintained. Penetration into the remote and tribal areas, yes, it is there, and we have got already geographically remote locations are already there. Difficult locations, Leh and Kargil, Rekango, Pao in Kinnaur district, Rudraprayag, Tehri and Pithoragarh. Examination centers in remote, tribal and disadvantaged, almost 1,000 examination centers we are having all over the country, including outside country also. Melt vans also for pre-admission. Our LSCs, where they are, IGNOU presence in the premises of HES and other institutions. Almost all the big central universities, they are also having their our study centers or the regional centers. Aligarh Muslim University, Banaras Hindu University, Rajiv Gandhi University, Jamia Millia University. The 90 universities, they are having our LSCs. Medical institutes, because I have told you that School of Health Sciences, their programs for which the AIMS, the Safdarganj, all these important big hospitals, government hospitals, because government comes to us and they say that the training part they will take care of in their government hospitals. So therefore, these medical institutes, they are also our skill development centers. Agriculture universities, other reputed institutes, including IIM also, we are they are with, as study center working with us. Infrastructure, 20 overseas study centers, for which the detailed presentation will be made later on. Then ICT infrastructure, we have got a computer division. We have got Center for Online Education, which is now monitoring this Swayam Prabha channels, Swayam courses, and also the support which they are giving to convert our ODL programs into the online programs. We have got the computer division. We have got the centralized student registration cell also, which is under the SRD. Computer division is a separate division, and Center for Online Education is also working separately. Institutional mechanism for academic counseling support, for which again you will have a separate presentation later on. Then Central Library, you will visit there. As I have told you earlier that Central Library, we have got the books, because here only the teachers and the research scholars, they are using this library. While the regional centers and the study centers, there the students, they use it. So therefore, the number of books which the regional center and SCs, they are more than what we are having. We are having access to the e-resources, access to databases, Delnet, Orkund, everything is with us. Then strategies for learner participation and engagement, pre-admission, during counseling and post-counseling, we try to reach to our learners. Then promotional activities, headquarters, regional centers and learner support centers. The qualitative matrices, the details they are already given in that. The same thing, it is being put over here. And we use various ways through which we try to promote our reach to the learners. Online admission services, yes, online fee refund also we have started recently, online fee payment gateway and online admission portal. Dispatch of study materials, for which also the separate presentation will be made later on. Then special learner centers, as I have told you earlier, jails and the NGOs, the voluntary of panchayats, because earlier we do have a panchayati scheme and the panchayati program was very, very popular over there. But with this ODL regulations, we have now closing most of these NGOs. Purpose is the inclusive development of the disadvantaged groups of the society. Alumni association, yes, we are having it, and we are having an alumni portal also, and we are trying to get themselves registered. And there is again an interaction with the peer team, with the alumni all over the country. This initiative is started again in 2015 when the visitor has specifically asked us to have the alumni database and connect with the alumni. It was being emphasized. And recently also the visitor has pointed out in 2019, because at that point of time the IIT Delhi, they have shown the great results, and thereby they also asked us to move ahead. Governance, vision and leadership, stakeholder participation, decision making, decentralization. As I have already told you, that regional centers, they are completely decentralized. Schools, they are also decentralized. Whatsoever they decide in their school boards, that is final. That is final. That is why I always look at my schools, because they know that how to develop their courses. They know that when the courses are to be revised. And the school boards, they look at the experts. Expert committee, that is their freedom. In every school, we have got an AR. So decentralization of financial powers, decentralization of academic powers. So everything, it is being shared. Strategic plan for deliverables, then functioning of institutional bodies, Then strategic plan and development. Again, we have got separate presentations from finance, administration. So there, even examination is also there. Welfare measures. We have got very good medical facilities. We have empaneled super specialty hospitals and diagnostic labs at CGHS rates, Max, etc. All these big hospitals, they are our empaneled hospitals for our own employees, for our own teachers or the non-teaching staff, both. We have got quarters housing, 342 quarters here, and AGVC, Asiad, there also 60 quarters are there, and old JNU campus, there also 8 quarters are with us. They are being maintained by us. Even then there is shortage of houses for our own faculty. Then Kendri Vidyalaya, located in JNU campus under central government quota, schooling of wards, that facility is also available there. Transportation, on-campus creche is there, horticulture farms. Then faculty performance appraisal system is also there. Promotion policy, as I have told you, our teachers and other academics, these are the two categories. Teachers, they are concerned with the development of the courses. And the delivery of these courses, that work is being taken care of by the academics. And this is a judicious mix, and it is an idea which our founders and Professor G. Ram Reddy has visualized it, and we see that how we work together to achieve the goals. And recently, the ordinance for CAS, for the teachers as well as for the academics, it was being approved for the 6th plan and also for the 7th plan. So earlier, these regulations for the promotion, they are being said that it is for conventional institutions. That is not being made applicable for the open universities. Now the government has come up, and our ordinances for the promotion, as per the new regulations, 6th pay as well as 7th pay, it is being approved by the visitor also. Non-academic staff, there also MSCP scheme is there, then RMP rules are there, everything is specific. Internal audit, we have got internal audit, external audit. We have got the Office of the Director General of Audit, Central Expenditure, annual accounts prepared as per CAG, audited by the this CAG audit people, placed before the Parliament. Annual report also we prepare it. Then all the regional centers for which the state government, the AG offices, they also conduct the audit. So regional center audit, the headquarter audit, they also take place on regular basis. We submit our annual accounts on time because they have to be presented before the Parliament. Even the annual report is also being presented before the Parliament. This again, the finance will tell you the details. Financial resource mobilization, as I already told you, that fees, government projects, training and capacity building, and sharing of SLMs. Of course, sharing of SLMs, we are not getting anything significant. Most of the MOUs, they have been done earlier for the sharing of money also, but later on the money part, that was missed. The sharing, it was still carrying on. Then government projects, and most of our revenue, it is coming through fees. This is the resources. 84% of our resources, they come from internal resources. And grant in aid, it is, as I told you, it is 82 crores. It is around 10%. And then the payments you see, academic expenses, we are spending around 30%. 30% academic expense still we are spending, and establishment expenses, they are around 45%. Then learner support services. Here the fee rationalization strategies, optimal utilization of services, how we go for it. For that also we have seen that how we can reach to our learners in an effective way. We have not enhanced the fees. I think not a single course for which you will find very high fees. It is very, very low fees. And recently in Vidya Bharati, what they wanted is, under the Pan Africa, they said that whatsoever you are charging in India, the same fees you have to charge from the Pan Africa, the second project, that is the Vidya Bharati. In that case, we are the loser, because if we enhance our fees, our local reach, it will be affected adversely. But in case of other institutions, they can put a higher fees here, and they can say that the same fees they can charge from outside. So of course we are facing that issue, and we are looking into that issue also. Academic resources, optimum, there also we are utilizing it more effectively. Infrastructural resources. Then quality improvement, so many efforts, no need to talk about it. Then initiatives taken for quality improvement. Then impact of these initiatives. I am looking at the time also. University policy on prevention, prohibition, redressal of sexual harassment of women at workplace. We have got iCash at the headquarters, for the regional centers also, and for the employees also. Then CREACH facilities. We have got a specific school on gender and development studies, takes care of the gender sensitive issues also. Then accountability, as I have told you, that school board, academic council, board of management, planning board, finance committee, these are statutory bodies. They are stated specifically in the statutes, and that is being complied specifically. Then distribution of study materials, adherence to academic calendar. If you see that only for the first time in 2019, for the first time with lot of pains, we could shift our academic calendar from June. Otherwise, every year since its inception, 1st June to 30th June, then 1st December to 31st December, that was the examination calendar. And 45 days, within 45 days, we used to declare the results. Only for the first time now, we have conducted only the final year examinations, and that too we have done it with pen and paper. All over the country, around 4 lakh learners were there. Around 700 study centers were there. In October, we have conducted that examination. Otherwise, we maintain these calendars. Then areas of distinctiveness, you will find, because we have got the institutional collaborations, we have got the SWAYAM, we have got the international outreach, we have got the STRIDE, Pan-Africa, NCID, ESLM, television, radio, offline, technology-enabled administrative support, for which again I think there is a separate presentation, maybe I think in COE you will find that presentation. IGNOU campus located in rocky and barren terrain, landscaping. This entire, we have got around 100 Malis working in the headquarters itself, and they contribute a lot, and their dedication is immense, and most of them, they are the outsourced staff, and they feel that it is their own university. And I would like to share with all of you that even our Malis and daily wage people, even sweepers, they were enthusiastic for this NAC peer team visit. NAC peer team visit. Our regular employees, they were enthusiastic, regular teachers, they were enthusiastic, but they were also. These are the breakup of those areas. Then sustainable campus. We are having this alternative source of energy, rooftop solar panel also, solar water pump also, water harvesting, groundwater recharge, sewage water plant, composting units, bioresource management. Awards received for the clean and green campus. Then modern office, IT infrastructure, sustainability, collaborative workplace. Then way forward, we are thinking to move ahead. I think I will not elaborate any of these areas. I have taken a lot of time. Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me a patient hearing.